The following matchup is being played with HistoryMaker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, man oh man, do we have a good matchup for you on hand, as we are going to be kicking off our second part of our Unlikeliest of Rivals series as part of our latest installment of another rivalry week here on the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. And we are going to be taking a look at a past rivalry then from the 70s. But is it still a rivalry today? We're going to find out right now as the 2022 Kansas City Royals take on the 2022 New York Yankees. First pitch for game one is just moments away, but before we get to that, let's have a little look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of Rivalry Night as part of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take this time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. First and foremost, thank you to Biddy Beer for sponsoring every mid-game and end-of-game summary throughout every episode of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste. At a Biddy price, it's Biddy Beer. They say it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Biddy Beer its distinctive taste, but we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our bats have never been cleaned, so there's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Biddy Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. And every game that we go to extra innings, it is a Doc Cola extra innings ball game. Doc Cola uses the finest imitation ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. With twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major brand, Doc Cola is sure to keep you wired from dawn till dusk. So take the Doc Cola challenge and see why our customers agree you'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom. At Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza starts with the crust. Then we layer on a homemade pizza sauce, and then load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, it's piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. And then we give that majestic culinary work of art to Mickey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who's as responsible as a tree stump. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection when it left the store. And by Suncoast Capital. At Suncoast, we live by one simple rule of investing. When your clients win, we win. And when our clients lose, we win, sort of. Suncoast Capital. You know we're gonna get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you can get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at least 25% coast to coast between the hours 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. with unlimited text and messaging between those hours, of course. So why pay for a service you cannot live without? And without further delay, we're ready to go for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night between the 2022 Kansas City Royals and the 2022 New York Yankees. And we're here to ask, it was a rivalry back then. Is it still a rivalry today? Let's find out right now. Your game one probable starters are as follows. Jameson Taillon will be on the hill for the New York Yankees as he has flash and double control, and he will be opposed by Brad Keller, who has workman, semi-flash, and semi-control. All games in this series are being played with History Maker Baseball Express. Whit Merrifield is ready to go, and so is Taillon. Let's do it from the Bronx here for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 113. Struggler on Taillon. He's not. Utility on Merrifield. He's a semi-utility batter. The decider die. Yes, semi-utility. Decider die says he is. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first half inning here at Yankee Stadium for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. The Royals walk away with nothing, and now it's now the Yankees' turn to take their hacks in the bottom half of the first inning. One 5-6. Ace on Keller. He's not. Sad sack on Judge. Get out of here. When is Aaron Judge ever a sad sack? So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Brad Keller has semi-flash, and the decider die says he does not. So, oh man, yikes. Bases are juiced, full of Yankees, and that is going to bring up Anthony Rizzo off of the men on base chart. This could be bad. 13. Fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. And again, when we say, and again, for those of you tuning in for the first time, I play freshness as 3 full fresh and 3 semi-fresh. Brad Keller, since we're still in the full freshness innings, he is considered fresh. So therefore, that is going to be a pop out. So the Royals strand the bases loaded. Excuse me, I should say the Yankees strand the bases loaded. And after an inning of play, we have no score. Three, 4, 5. Star on Taillon. He's not a star. Sad sack on Benintendi. Nope. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash or control. Jameson Taillon has both flash and double control. So therefore, that 5 will be reduced to a 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. So therefore, Andrew Benintendi will trot his way down to second base for Bobby Witt Jr. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a righty versus righty matchup, strike 3 called, says the home plate umpire, as Jameson Taillon will get the strikeout of Bobby Witt Jr. to strand that runner at second. The Royals threaten but do not score in their half of the second. We go to the bottom half of the inning with no score. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. Here we are. Ace on Keller. He's not an ace. Champ on Gleyber Torres. He's not. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot for flash. Just to double check. Ace, no. Champ, no. Yes, Saturday was not used. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot for flash and a blank for control. That's going to do it for the first 2 innings here at Yankee Stadium here in the Bronx with your score: Royals nothing, Yankees nothing. One, 3, 5. Ace on Taillon. He's not. Champ on Salvador Perez. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. Your score remains at a deadlock of a zip-to-zip tie between the 2022 Kansas City Royals and the 2022 New York Yankees. 125. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're still in the full freshness innings. And again, as mentioned before, I play freshness has 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. So in this case, Brad Keller is still fresh. Champ on Stanton. No siree. That is going to be a no runs result of a 2 blank for Flash and a blank for Control. And that's going to do it for the first 3 innings here at Yankee Stadium for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night with your score Royals nothing, Yankees nothing. 236. Struggler or Gilded on Tyone. He's not. Sad Sack on Pasquatch. He's not. That's going to be an RBI question mark result. And folks, the DeSaturday says no. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first 3.5 innings here in the Bronx with your score all deadlocked at a zip-to-zip tie between the Royals and the Yankees for this episode of Rivalry Night. One four six. Ace or Dynamic on Keller. No way. Sad Sack on Josh Donaldson. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If Control, Brad Keller has semi-control, and yes, he does. That is, man, oh man, that is a huge break for Keller and the Royals, but it's still going to put runners on its second and third for Oswaldo Cabrera to hit off the men on base chart. 13. Fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. And again, freshness, since we're in the semi freshness innings now, I go by it as dot, he's still fresh, blank, he's not. Since in this case, the DeSaturday says that Keller is still fresh, he will get the pop out to keep this game at a scoreless tie after 4 innings of play between the Royals and the Yankees for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 114. 114. Struggler on Tyone. He's not. Champ on Hunter Dozier. He's not. That is going to be a no runs result of a 4 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 4.5 innings here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx with your score all deadlocked at a zip-to-zip tie between the Royals and the Yankees. 445. 445. Here we are. Workman on Keller. Yes, he is a workman. So therefore, that's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Aaron Hicks is a neutral runner, so that 5 is going to stay put. Put in the runners on at second and third for IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He'll take his axe off the men on base chart with a 35. Control pitcher. Brad Keller is a semi-control pitcher, and unfortunately, he is not. Load up the bases. Unbelievable, full of Yanks for Jose Trevino. The catcher goes out to the mound, plus the pitching coach to calm things down. This is a crucial moment in this game with a zip-to-zip score between the Royals and the Yankees for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. Oh, man, oh, man. And it seems everyone has gotten cooler heads all settled down. We are going to, and as we do see both pens going to work, as both of these pitchers are on their last leg, on their last line of defense. And let's see what we got here with Jose Trevino up at the dish off the men on base chart. 35, yep, off the men on base chart with Oh, a 16. Wow, good eye. Jose Trevino does not have a good eye, so therefore that's going to be a strikeout. Oh man, kudos to the Kansas City Royals to take that timeout right there as after 5 innings of play for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night, we have no score between the Royals and the Yankees after Brad Keller gets the Royals back in their dugout and escape the bases loaded jam. Again, after 5 innings of play, the score remains Royals nothing, Yankees nothing. Jamison Tyone will still be out there on the hill with a 5.56. Star on Tyone. He's not. Hero on Carlos Santana. He's not. That is going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Carlos Santana does not have a home run king or slugger qualities, so therefore that's going to be the end of it for the top half of the sixth. After 5.5 innings of play, the score remains at a zip-to-zip tie between the Yankees and the Royals. Who is going to take this episode? Who is going to take game one of this episode of Rivalry Night? Stay tuned to find out because we do see a new pitcher trotting in from the bullpen for the Kansas City Royals. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And we're back here at Yankee Stadium here in the Bronx with a new pitcher on the mound for the Kansas City Royals as Joel Payamps will be on the hill as he has Star, Flash, and Semi Control. For this at bat against Aaron Judge, Payamps will have the full extent use of the control quality. We go to work back on the main chart with Aaron Judge stepping up to the plate in a scoreless tie here for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night between the 2022 Kansas City Royals and the 2022 New York Yankees. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Excuse me. Pitcher not fresh. Well, Joe Payams came in for the bullpen, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Sad sack on Judge. Get out of here. When is Aaron Judge ever a sad sack? So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die. If control, and again, we gave Pams for this at bat against Judge, the full extent use of the control quality. So therefore, he does have control. So will be reduced to a 1, putting Aaron Judge on at first base for Anthony Rizzo to hit off the men on base chart. 16. Good eye. No, Anthony Rizzo does not have a good eye. So therefore, that is going to be a strikeout and a good job by the Kansas City Royals bullpen to keep this game at a zip-to-zip tie going to the 7th inning. Who will take home game one of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Royals and the Yankees? 2-4-6. Tyone is still out there with a 2-4-6. Star, no. Champ on Rivera, no. No runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Emmanuel Rivera has semi-slugger. However, the decider die says no. The black die is not a 6. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 6 blank, and that is going to seal up the deal. And we head to the stretch with your score all dead even at zip to zip. Who will take home game one of this episode of Rivalry Night? Stay tuned to find out as we play on in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 1-2-3. Workman or struggler on Payamps? No. Champ on Torres? No. That is going to be a no runs result of a 3-dot. And that is going to end things here for the first 7 innings here at Yankee Stadium with your score Royals nothing and the Yankees nothing. Someone has to give. Timeout. And it seems that Wandy Peralta will be on the hill now for the New York Yankees here in game one of this episode of Rivalry Night, as he has Star, Flash, and Semi Control. And is this a good move? We'll have to wait and see, because for this at bat against Michael A. Taylor, Peralta will have the full extent use of the control quality. With that being said, we're deadlocked at a scoreless tie, excuse me, between the Yankees and the Royals. Excuse me, as we play on here in the top half of the eighth inning. 114, Struggler on Peralta, no. Champ on Taylor, no. That's going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first um, first 7.5 innings here at Yankee Stadium. I think this is going to come down to the wire, folks. We head to the bottom half of the eighth with your score all dead even and a big fat goose egg between the Royals and the Yankees. 246. Star on Pamps. Yes, he is a star. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 4 dot. Yep, 4 dot. And that is going to end things here for the first 8 innings here at Yankee Stadium. Someone has to blink. Who will it be? We go to the ninth in a scoreless tie. 256. Workman on Peralta, no. Satsack on Merrifield, no. That's going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die at Flash. Wandy Peralta has Flash. That 6 will be reduced to a 5. This is the Royals' chance to get something brewing here, to hopefully get in front of the Yankees here, to send this to the bottom of the ninth. We have Andrew Benintendi up at the dish off the men on base chart. Oh, we have an 11. Batting team harmonious or pitching team dissonant. And again, no team throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour will be taking full advantage of who's harmonious or who's dissonant or not, who's hot and who's cold, or if they suck or if they're good. So therefore, that is going to be a ground out and a good job by the Yankees defense to keep it at a zip to zip tie going into the bottom of the ninth, with Josh Donaldson for a chance to walk things off. Can he do it? Let's find out with your score. Royals nothing, Yankees nothing. 225. Ace on Pamps. No. Hero on Donaldson. Nope. We're going to extras, folks, here in game one of this episode of Rivalry Night, as it will be a no runs result of a 2 dot. And that is going to be all she wrote for the first 9 innings of game one of this episode of Rivalry Night. This game will be decided in extras. How long will it take? Stay tuned to find out as we play on for Doc Cola extra innings. And again, every extra innings here throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is a Doc Cola extra innings. We begin Doc Cola extra innings with a 3-4-6. Excuse me, pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Peralta is considered fresh because he is the bullpen hero arm. Hero batter on Bobby Witt Jr. No, that is going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Bobby Witt Jr. has slugger, but the black die is not a 6. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank. And we head to the bottom half of the 10th with Oswaldo Cabrera getting a chance to walk things off. 236. Struggler or Gilded on Payamps? No. Sadsack on Cabrera? No. Is this going to be the game winner? Unfortunately, it will not, according to the decider die. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a whoops. So it was a 6 of a 6 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first 10 innings of this one. Who will score first? Man, oh man. We head to the 11th. Here for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Royals and the Yankees. 3-3-4. Star on Peralta. He is a star. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 3 blank. We go to the bottom half of the inning with Aaron Hicks up at the dish. 2-2-4. Ace on Pams. He's not. Utility on Aaron Hicks. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If control, Pam says semi-control, and he does not. Excuse me. Therefore, it will be placing the runner on at second. The winning run is on at second for IKF, Isaiah Kiner Falefa. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 25. Iron fielder commits the error. Vinny Pasquantino is not an iron fielder. We play on, folks. Who is going to blank first? As it will be a ground out to end the first 11 innings here at Yankee Stadium. Who's going to take home, who's going to take home game one of this episode of Rivalry Night? Someone has to give your score. Royals nothing, Yankees nothing, as we play on in Doc Cola extra innings. One, 5, 6. Ace on Peralta, no. Satsack on Dozier, no. That is going to be a ace, no. Satsack, no. Yes, men on base result -1 for the black die if flash. Wandy Peralta has flash. That is going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. Both pitching staffs are not ready to blank just yet. What's going to happen when we head to the 12th, the bottom half of the 12th, with your score all dead even and a zip-to-zip tie between the Royals and the Yankees for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night. 1-1-5, Struggler on Payamps. He's not. Utility on Trevino. He's not. Excuse me. Therefore, it's going to be a men on base result -1 for the black die if flash. Payamps has flash. That 5 will be reduced to a 4. Winning run is on at third base for Aaron Judge. He'll hit off the men on base chart with a 26. Home run king, it's home run. Aaron Judge has a home run king. That one is not gonna come back, folks, as Aaron Judge delivers the Yankees a walk-off win here in the 12th inning as they beat the Royals here in game one of this episode of Rivalry Night by the final score of 3-0. And we're from Kauffman Stadium for game two of this episode of Rivalry Night between the 2022 New York Yankees and the 2022 Kansas City Royals. Your probable starters for this game are as follows. Brady Singer will go for the Kansas City Royals as he has Star, Flash, and Control, while Nestor Cortez will go for the Bronx Bombers as he has Semi-Ace, Flash, and Control. With that being said, a couple lineup changes are in order here as Kyle Higashioka will come into the game and catch Nestor Cortez and bat 9. With that being said, Anthony Rizzo's ready to get things going here for game two of this episode of Rivalry Night against Brady Singer. Can he pull the Yankees to a 2-0 advantage, or will the Royals get on the board with a win, setting up a winner-take-all game back at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. It is time to find out. Let's play ball. We'll begin game two of this episode of Rivalry Night with a 3-5-6. Workman on Singer. He's not. Champ on Rizzo. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Anthony Rizzo has home run king, so therefore that ball is going to be clobbered out to the fountains and gone. Anthony Rizzo with a leadoff home run gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead here in after a half inning of play. And the score is Yankees 1 and the Royals are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. Two six six. Star on Cortez. He's not. Champ on on Santana. He's not. That is going to be a 266. Yep. No runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Carlos Santana does not have home run king or slugger qualities, so therefore that's going to do it for the first inning of play here at the K in Kansas City with your score: Yankees 1, Royals nothing. 2-2-3. Ace on Singer. No. Utility on Torres. No. That is going to be an RBI question mark result. And unfortunately, the decider die says no. Let me just make sure. Ace, no. Utility, no. Yes. The decider die was not used. I read the right row as it's an RBI question mark result. And unfortunately, the decider die says no. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 2 blank, and that is going to send things to the bottom half of the second with the Yankees in front of the Royals here in game two of this episode of Rivalry Night, 1-0. 3-5-6. Workman on Cortez. He's not. Champ on Rivera. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Rivera has a semi slugger. However, the black die, in this case, the white number on screen, is not a 6. So therefore, that is going to be 3-5-6. Here we are. No run. It's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first two innings here at the K with your score: Yankees 1, Royals nothing. 2-4-6. 2-4-6. Star on Singer. He is a star, so therefore that's going to be a no runs result of a 4 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings here at the K with your score: Yankees 1, Royals nothing. 3-5-6. 3-5-6. Workman on Cortez. He's not. Champ on Taylor. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Michael A. Taylor does not have home run king or slugger qualities. So therefore, that's going to do it for the first 3 innings here at the K with your score: Yankees 1, Royals nothing, with a no runs result of a 3 blank. And we go to the fourth by that score of Yankees 1, Royals nothing. 2-6-6. Star on Singer. He is a star. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first 3.5 innings here at the K for game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the 2022 Yankees and the 2022 Royals, as the Yankees lead it 1-0 over the Kansas City Royals. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're in the semi-freshest innings now, and I go by it with the decider die, as dot he's still fresh, blank, he's not. So therefore, the decider die says, no, you're not fresh, Nestor. So therefore, it will be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Whit Merrifield is a semi-active runner, and he is. So that 4 will be increased to a 5, putting runners at second and third for Andrew Benintendi to bat off of the men on base chart. 56. Patient draws the walk. Benintendi's not patient, so therefore it will be a contact result, and I roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 5. Champ on Benintendi. He's a semi-champ, and the decider die says yes, he is. That is going to be a tie ball game up at 1, thanks to an Andrew Benintendi RBI. Here in the bottom half of the 4th, we go to the 5th with your score all dead even at 1 apiece between the Yankees and the Royals here for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 1-2-2. Struggler on Singer. No. Champ on Cabrera. He's not a champ. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result. Brady Singer has quieted the bats of the Yankees so far, allowing the Royals to take advantage to possibly take the lead here. Can they do it? Let's find out right now as we head to the bottom half of the inning with your score. Yanks 1, Royals 1. 2-3-3. Ace on Cortez. He's a semi-ace, and the decider die says he is. Therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 3 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 5 innings of play here at the K with your score all dead even at 1 here for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the New York Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. 2-5-6. Excuse me. Workman on Singer. He's not. Sad sack on Hicks. Oh man, semi-sad sack is printed on Aaron Hicks's card. Excuse me. But therefore, the decider die says he is not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result -1 for the black die of Flash. Brady Singer has Flash from 5 to a 4. That'll place the runners on at the corners for IKF Isaiah Kiner Falefa. He will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 25. Ironfielder commits the error. Salvador Perez is the catcher for this game, so therefore he's not iron. So therefore it will be a ground out to end and keep the game tied up at 1 as we head to the bottom half of the inning with your score, Yanks 1 and the Royals 1. Oh, 3D6. Sorry about that. There we go. 2-5-6. 2-5-6. 2-5-6. Here we are. Workman on Nestor Cortez. He's not. Sad sack on Pasquatch Vinny Pasquantino. He's not. That will be a men on base result -1 for the black die of Flash. Nestor Cortez has Flash 6 to a 5. Runners on at second and third for Hunter Dozier off the men on base chart. This is the Royals' chance to get themselves a huge lead here. We go to the men on base chart with, oh wow, a 12. Slugger hits home run. Hunter Dozier is a semi-slugger, but the decider die says he does not have it. So therefore, either way, 2 runs are going to come across to score. Runners advance 2 bases thanks to a 2 RBI single to give the Kansas City Royals the lead 3-1 over the New York Yankees here in Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. And we head to the 7th right now by that score of a lead for the Royals 3-1. Brady Singer's back out to the hill for Kansas City as he looks to go for the quality start here with a 1.45. Acer dynamic on Brady Singer. He's pitching like one, but unfortunately he does not have it. Stat sack on Kyle Higashioka. He does not have it. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result, -1 for the Black Die of Flash. Brady Singer has Flash from 4 to a 3. The Yanks are probably going to go for the tie here, so therefore they'll place Higgy on at third base, pulling their trump card for Aaron Judge to hit off the men on base chart. Wow, it did pay off. 12. Slugger hits home run. Aaron Judge is a slugger. So therefore, the Yankees just tied up the game. Unbelievable at 3-all, thanks to a 2-run jack by Aaron Judge. And folks, man, oh man, Brady Singer left a little piece of cheese in the sweet spot of Aaron Judge, and Judge made sure he made that huge mistake. As the Yankees tie up the game at 3, we resume action on the men on base chart for Anthony Rizzo with a 36. Active batter gets runners advanced to base a single plus a stolen base. Anthony Rizzo is not an active runner, so therefore it's going to be a contact result. Red die comes back out once more. It's a 6. Oh, and it's going to be a ground out. So therefore, Brady Singer gave up the lead, but he's going to make sure his team is still in this ball game as we head to the stretch here in Kansas City with your score, Yankees 3 and the Royals 3. Timeout. It seems Michael King will be out on the mound for the Yankees as he has semi-ace, double flash, and semi-control. For this at-bat against Carlos Santana, Michael King will have the full extent use of the ace quality. With that being said, we resume action here in the bottom half of the 7th with the score, Yankees 3 and the Royals 3, with Carlos Santana up at the dish. 1-3-5. Ace on King. Remember, we gave King the full extent of the ace quality for this at bat. So therefore, he does have it no matter what. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first 7 innings of play here at the K in Kansas City with your score of dead even at 3 apiece between the Yankees and the Royals. 1-3-6. Ace on Singer. So far, he's pitching like one, but unfortunately, he's not. Hero on Gleyber Torres. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Oh, man. The Kansas City Royals manager left Brady Singer in there too long, as it will be a big fly for Gleyber Torres. And like a good Gleyber, Torres is there, paying homage to the late, great John Sterling with one of his famous Yankee home run calls. Rest in peace, as the Yankees now take hold of a 4-3 lead here in Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night, 4-3 over the Kansas City Royals. 1-2-6. Struggler or Gilded on King? He's not. Hero on Rivera? Nope. That'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die is not a 6, though, so therefore it will be a no runs result of a 6 blank. And that will seal up the deal for the first 8 innings here at the K with your score, Yankees 4, Royals 3. We do see a new bullpen arm trotting into the bullpen for the Kansas City Royals. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. Score is Yankees 4, Royals 3, as Dylan Coleman will be out on the mound as he has semi-ace and flash credited to his name. For this at bat against Giancarlo Stanton, Dylan Coleman will have the full extent use of the semi-star quality. With that being said, the Yankees take charge of the Royals 4-3, as Stanton is looking to make sure to make some noise here for the Yankees to grab some insurance runs before heading to the bottom half of the ninth inning. 116, Struggler on Coleman. No. Utility on Stanton. He's not. Therefore, it's going to be an RBI question mark result. And folks, oh man, the black die is a 6, and there is a rule in History Maker Baseball Express where, excuse me, if the black die is a 6, and when an RBI question mark result comes up, if the decider die shows dot, it's not only one RBI, it's two RBIs. So the Yankees, thanks to a 2 RBI hit, somehow, some way, by Giancarlo Stanton, lead the Kansas City Royals 6-3 as we head to the bottom of the ninth. And those insurance runs are going to really pay off no matter what happens as we go to the bottom of the ninth with Michael A. Taylor to lead things off. 255. Struggler on King. No. Utility on Taylor. He's a semi-utility, and the decider die says he is. Therefore, it'll be a no-runs result of a 5 dot, and that is going to be the ball game, folks. The final score here for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night, as the Yankees, thanks to a 2 RBI hit from Giancarlo Stanton, defeat the Kansas City Royals and set up the sweep back at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx as they defeat the Royals here in Game 2 to take the first 2 games of this series 6-3. Even though the Yankees have won both games, the first 2 games of this episode of Rivalry Night, the Kansas City Royals are looking to dodge and avoid the sweep at the hands of the Yankees for this episode of Rivalry Night. To do so, we have a Clash of the Titans for you on hand, as Garrett Cole will go for the Yanks as he is finishing up his warm-up tosses as we speak, and he will be opposed by Zach Greinke for the Kansas City Royals. We go, and again, the Yankees win. They win the series and sweep the Royals. But if the Royals win, they salvage Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. But the Yankees will still win the episode 2-1. With that being said, it's time to find out, sweep or no sweep, as Whit Merrifield is ready to go. So is Garrett Cole. Let's get to it from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 122, Struggler on Cole. No. Champ on Merrifield. No. That is going to be a no-runs result of a 1 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first half inning of play. It's Royals nothing, and the Yankees are coming to bat. 144. Struggler on Greinke. No. Sack on Donaldson. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If control, Zach Greinke has double control. So from 4 to a 2, that is going to place Josh Donaldson on at second base for Oswaldo Cabrera, as he will bat off the men on base chart. With a 35. Control pitcher, Zach Greinke has double control, so therefore that is going to be a ground out to end the first inning of play here for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. 156. Excuse me. 156. Ace on Cole. He's not. Sat on Benintendi. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If Flash, excuse me, Garrett Cole has a double flash. So therefore, that 5 will be reduced to a 3. No go big or go home. Whoops. No go big or go home yet for the Royals, but they will play it safe for Bobby Witt Jr. to hit off the men on base chart. It's an 11. Batting team harmony or pitching team to sonnet. And again, no team throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is taking full advantage of who's harmonious or who's dissonant or not, who's hot and who's cold, or if they suck or if they don't. So with that being said, it will be a ground out. Good job by the Yankee defense to keep this game at a zip-to-zip tie through an inning and a half here in Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 566. Excuse me. Star on Greinke. No. Utility on Hicks. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of Flash. Zach Greinke has semi flash, and the decider die says, yes, he does. So therefore, that's going to place the runners on its second and third for bases loaded. So that's a huge break for Kansas City to hopefully avoid bases loaded. But either way, here comes Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to bat off the men on base chart with a 55. Batting team, batting team dissonant or pitching team harmonious. Pardon, folks. And again, no team throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is taking full advantage of who's harmonious or who's dissonant or not, or who's hot and who's cold. So therefore, it will be a single. 2 runs will come home to score. The Yankees grab a 2-0 lead, no matter what, as it will be Isaiah Kiner-Falefa will trot down to first base, as that will bring up Jose Trevino off the men on base chart with, oh wow, a 12. Slugger hits home run. Jose Trevino is a semi-slugger, and yes, he is. There she goes, folks. High, deep, and gone. The Yankees are making sure that they are in line for the sweep here as they clobber the Royals for a 4-0 lead as we resume action on the men on base chart with nobody on base. For Aaron Judge with a 13, fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out since we're still in the full freshest innings. As I go by it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. Zach Greinke will have the full extent use of the freshness quality, so therefore it will be a pop out to end the threat, but not before damage was done. As thanks to a 2-run bomb by Jose Trevino and a 2 RBI single by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, gives the Yankees a 4-0 lead after 2 innings of play for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 236. Struggler or gilded on Cole? No. Sat on Perez? No. That is going to be an RBI question mark result, and unfortunately, the black die was there at a 6, but the decider die the decider die says no. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 2 dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings here at Yankee Stadium. Your score is Yankees 4, Royals nothing. We're on our way to the bottom half of the third now with your score, Yankees 4, Royals nothing, with Anthony Rizzo up at the dish with a 1-1-2. Ace on Greinke? No. Sat on Rizzo? No. That's going to be an RBI question mark result. And unfortunately for Zach Greinke, that's probably going to be the end of the day. As the Yankees will tack on yet another run, as we do see the Royals manager shake the hand of Zach Greinke. He will let him know the bullpens will take care of things here from here on out. But Zach Greinke is the first to fall in this clash of the Titans between two former Astros starting pitchers. With your score, Yankees 5, Royals nothing. We head to the fourth by that score. 244. Ace on Cole. No. 244. Yep, here we are. Utility on Vinny Pasquantino. No. It will be a men on base result, -1 for the black die of control. Vinny Pasquantino, Garrett Cole has control. So from 4 to a 3, go big or go home. They're going to place the runner on at third base for Hunter Dozier. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart. For the 24, Goldfielder makes the out. Gleyber Torres is not a gold fielder, so therefore, oh man, folks, is this the start that that the Royals needed? I guess we're gonna have to stay tuned to find out because that's gonna be an RBI. That's gonna be an earned run and an error on Gleyber Torres, as it is now Yankees 5, Royals 1. As we resume on the men on base chart with Carlos Santana up at the dish. With a 36, active batter gets runners advance 2 bases single, excuse me, plus a stolen base. Yes, Stanton. Oh, I'm sorry. Carlos Santana does not have is not an active runner, so therefore it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 5. Champ on Santana. Nope. It will be a pop out, but the Royals do get on the board thanks to an error by Gleyber Torres. It's now Yankees 5, Royals 1. Timeout. And we're back here at the stadium here in the Bronx as Scott Barlow will be on the hill for the Kansas City Royals to lead things off here in the bottom half of the fourth against Giancarlo Stanton. Barlow has ace flash control, but for this at bat against Giancarlo Stanton, Barlow had the full extent use of the semi star quality. With that being said, it's Yankees 5, Royals 1 as we head to as we resume play. We're in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Uh, 1-3-5. Ace on Barlow. Yes, sir. That'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 4 innings of this one here at the stadium in the Bronx with your score Yankees 5, Royals 1. We have a 4-5-6. 4-5-6. Excuse me. We got pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Cole. Excuse me. We're in the semi-freshest innings now, and the decider die. Oh, excuse me. Says yes, he's still fresh. Champ on Emmanuel Rivera. No, that's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die is a 6. Emmanuel Rivera has semi slugger. The decider die was used to check if Cole was fresh or not, and he was. So therefore, did Rivera get the solo shot? He does. So therefore, that is going to bring the game within 3 runs as the score is now Yankees 5, Royals 2. The Royals are starting to chip away at the Yankee lead, but can Josh Donaldson add on some more insurance runs to bring it back to a 4-run game? Let's find out as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. 2-2-6. 2-2-6. Here we are. Ace on Barlow. He is an ace. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 2 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first 5 innings of play here at Yankee Stadium for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night with your score Yankees 5, Royals 2. 113. Struggler on Cole. So far, he's not. Utility on Michael A. Taylor. He's a semi-utility, and the decider die says he's not. Is that man? Excuse me. That is going to be an RBI question mark result. And did he get the RBI? He did not. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 3 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 6 innings of the first 5.5 innings of play here at Yankee Stadium with your score: Yankees 5, Royals 2. 334. Excuse me. Star on Barlow. He's not a star. Utility on Cabrera. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result, -1 for the black die of control. Scott Barlow has control, so therefore, that 3 will be reduced to a 2, putting the runner on at second base for Aaron Hicks. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 35. Excuse me. Control pitcher. Barlow is a control pitcher, so therefore, that's going to be a ground out to keep this game right where it's at of a 5-2 lead for the New York Yankees as we head to the 7th inning. Time is running out for the Kansas City Royals to hopefully salvage a game in this series. Can they try to do it? Let's find out as we enter the final 3 innings of play. Yes, the final 3 innings of play here for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 445. 445. Here we are. Workman on Cole. He's not. Hero on Merrifield. Nope. That's going to be a no runs result of a 5 5 dots, and that is going to seal up the deal as these fine folks here at Yankee Stadium are stretching their legs out, hopefully to see a good finish here to the game, here to Game 3 as they see their Yankees ahead 5-2 over the Kansas City Royals. And sorry about that, folks. I misclicked on my scoreboard control panel. With that being said, we resume play here in the bottom half of the 7th with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa up at the dish. 256. Workman on Barlow. No. Utility on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He is not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. With that being said, 256. Yep. Excuse me. -1 for the black die of flash. So therefore, Scott Barlow has flash. So from 6 to a 5, that is going to place runners on at second and third for Jose Trevino. He will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 34. Slugger hits double. Jose Trevino is a semi-slugger, but the decider die says no. Therefore, it's going to be a single, adding on 2 more runs. And that, folks, is probably going to be the nail in the coffin as the Yankees bust out this game, have busted this game wide open as they now lead it 7-2 over the Kansas City Royals as we head to the 8th inning here at Yankee Stadium. 245. Excuse me. 245. Struggler on Cole. He's not. Sad sack on Benintendi. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die at flash control. Garrett Cole has both double flash and control. 4 -3 becomes a 1. Therefore, Andrew Benintendi will trot his way down to first for Bobby Witt Jr. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 56. Patient draws the walk. Bobby Witt Jr. is not a patient batter, so therefore, excuse me, it will be a contact result Red die comes out once more. It's a 3. Sat Sacker Utility. No siree. Bobby Witt Jr. is not either a Sat Sacker Utility batter. So therefore, they'll get one of those 2 runs back as it's now 7-3 in favor of the New York Yankees here for game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Four, 6. Workman on Barlow. No. Hero on Judge. You better believe it. He is a hero. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. And Aaron Judge is a neutral runner. The bases are loaded, full of Yanks, as that is going to bring up Anthony Rizzo up at the dish off the men on base chart. 35. Control pitcher. Scott Barlow is a control pitcher. So therefore, it will be a ground out, keeping the score right here. Last call for the Kansas City Royals as they need 4 to tie and 5 to take advantage to send this game to the 9th inning. But we do see to the bottom of the 9th, but we do see a new pitcher trotting in for the bullpen for the Yankees as the manager for the Yanks have shook in the hand of Garrett Cole, and we're going to see who the new pitcher is after we take this really quick timeout. Last call for the Kansas City Royals as Clay Holmes will be up on the mound. It's not a safe situation though, even though the Yankees lead it 7-3 by 4 runs. It is considered not a safe situation, but we'll have to wait and see what the official scorers will say at the end of this one. But for this at bat against Salvador Perez, Clay Holmes will have the full extent use of the ace quality. So he would normally have semi ace, flash, and semi control. But for this at bat against Salvador Perez, Clay Holmes will have the full extent use of the ace quality. With that being said, last call for the Royals. Can they try to salvage a game in this series? Let's find out right now. It's Yankees 7, Royals 3. 156. Excuse me. Ace on Holmes. Remember, we gave him full extend use of the ace quality. So therefore, he is an ace. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result. Yep, no runs result of a 1 dot. And folks, the Yankees are going to beat the Kansas City Royals in all 3 games of this episode of Rivalry Night as they take game 3 by the final score of 7-3. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Rivalry Night as we featured the 2022 New York Yankees and the 2022 Kansas City Royals. Was a rivalry then, but is it still a rivalry today? Well, I guess you found out for yourself on the latest installment of Rivalry Night. Well, unfortunately, it seems we ran out of time for today, but never fear. Let's see what's coming up next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. It seems we're going to rewind the clock back to 2019, to the 2019 Fall Classic that featured the 2019 Washington Nationals and the 2019 Houston Astros. The Nats look to defend their World Series championship crown on the latest installment of World Series Rewind. Can the Nats do it, or will the Astros have other plans? Well, I guess you're going to have to stay tuned to find out for yourself next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.